everybody, I'm Rob. This is a Comic Book Chronicles interview, and I'm really interested to hear what my guest today has to say. And honestly, how could I not be, as he draws a comic book called Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre. And the collected edition of Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre goes on sale July 28th. That's the collected edition, which is comprised of issues 1 through 4. James Edward Clark is on the line. Mr. Clark, how are you, sir?
Hey, how are you?
Excellent, my guy. Excellent. Okay, so I've previously talked to your collaborator, Fred Kennedy, but you know what? Just for the people who don't know, give us the rundown. Tell us what Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre is about.
So the Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre, basically you have an amusement park in Florida. It's like Marineland, only instead of dolphins, you have hippopotamuses.
Mhm.
But the whole thing's just a big front for this guy's drug empire that he runs out of the park. And the cops are onto him. One day it all hits the fan. They raid the park. Everything goes sideways. The villain escapes to the underground catacombs below the park. He blows up all the exits and entrances, feeds all his cocaine to the hippopotamuses, and sets them loose on the surviving patrons as like distraction while he gets away. And we're following the police as they try and track him down, but stop him before he can get away.
The laser drug force, I believe, is
Yes, laser drug force.
That's technically the full name of the comic book, is it not? The laser drug force in the Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre.
Yeah, the idea is it'll be like a series of books under the banner of the laser drug force. And they'll all have crazy titles like that.
Hey, more on that in a bit, my guy. I'm looking forward to that. But so when I talked to Fred, he said that you've got a lot of input into the book's execution beyond simply drawing a script that he writes. Like, for instance, Fred said that he originally wrote like a hungry hippos type joke into one of the issues, and you kind of nixed that because the audience was expecting that sort of thing.
Too obvious, you know.
Yeah, I mean, is that
I'll
true?
go for the low-hanging fruit, exactly. Like, go try and, like, not the first joke you go to, but maybe the second, third, so, like, people aren't expecting it. Yeah, it ended up being, like, very collaborative. It's almost sort of Marvel style in a way, because, like, I should have got one out, but we'll work on, like, kind of a beat sheet where, like, I'll take a piece of paper and draw 24 boxes because we have 24 pages, and then we'll just write little notes inside each one, like what's going to happen. And this kind of breaks down the timing of the issue. You know, comedy timing is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, like once we got all worked out, like I'll start thumbnailing it out. And then he'll go in and write all the dialogue, all the script. So he'll always write too much. And they're like, our editor was very kind of anal about the box is not going outside, the panels are touching the border. So like I had to, like, at a certain point I just had to be like, I gotta edit some of this stuff down. So and you know, initially, like with the first issue especially, like I was more just trying to keep it on the rails. Like I'd inject kind of like, we need the character to give a little exposition here. Like, you know, there's the one page where they're Disco, the villain, he's in the underground catacombs on the forklift, and he sort of explains his backstory and sort of like I put that in there because we need to, like, just the audience to know, like, what the plan is moving forward and stuff like that. Just so, like, it's a very weird, odd concept, so you got to keep reminding people, like, what's going on and stuff like that. You can't, you know, get ahead of your skis, right, so to speak.
It's very out of this world, very offbeat. And I mean, so how did that dynamic with you and Fred? I mean, because have you guys ever worked together previously? I don't think you have you?
No, he's like pitched like a couple books to me over the years. I'd be like busy on a project, or you know, we'd go back and forth a bit, and maybe like, you know, it just never materialized. Like, you know, we weren't, you know, one of us wasn't super jazzed about it or the other. But this one, I was actually like, you know, I did a book called Piss and Apocalypse, one of my indie books. I was doing the Kickstarter, and I was wrapping it up, like, you know, it was like the final 24 hours or whatever. And like Fred actually like dropped the sort of first draft of the script to me. Like, I think he'd had it for a few years at that point. I think something like kind of came up with our friend Adam Gorham at a convention, I think was the story he gave me.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like a rough draft. And, you know, Piss and Apocalypse is very dark, and sort of my other books are like, you know, there's a lot of nudity and sex, and sort of like, they're not for everybody. So I wanted to do something like more like crowd pleasing, kind of something anybody could get into. Like there's no nudity in this one. There's no cussing. There's just like some sex and drugs, but you know, it's an anti-drug book, you know, I say.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. Do you have a background in comedy, Mr. Clark? I mean, because I mean, you mentioned a lot of comedy is in the timing. I mean, you don't have any kind of, I guess, training, for lack of a better term.
No, but like people describe my books, like a lot of my like other books, as funny, but like kind of dark humor, I guess, you know. But like I put a lot of jokes in that, like you know, Piss and Apocalypse, like a post-apocalyptic thing, but it's like kind of like a satire at the same time, and sort of ironic in a lot of ways. And there are a lot of like kind of offbeat jokes in there too. You just can't help it. But this one, we're going full Looney Tunes, you know, parody version.
And I love it personally. I love it. I mean, you know, is there a moment in one of the Florida issues that you can look at, whether from a comedic standpoint or from an artistic standpoint, from any standpoint, and just say, yep, right there, that's a moment that we nailed. That's a moment that we got exactly what we wanted out of? Or are you kind of a perfectionist? Do you pick yourself apart?
I mean, I am kind of a perfectionist, sort of like I do like I kind of drive Fred crazy because I like you know want to make a you know revisions and sort of like punch stuff up and make it as best as you know as good as it can. But you know, I think issue one is like as close to a perfect issue one as I've ever gotten. You
Hmm.
know, everybody was you know I think like it came out and everybody was very excited about it and raving about it and sort of real jazz for it, and it sort of blew up and kind of you know as much as you can with an indie book these days.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, I mean, what has that reaction been like from the people? I mean, has it been? I mean, are you getting a lot of enthusiastic feedback on social media? Are people coming up to you at signings? I mean, what's it been like?
Oh yeah, we are. We did a signing like you know the weekend after it came out, and we showed up. The store had ordered like over 100 copies, and they sold out in like an hour and a half. And we were just
Nice.
signing. It was like pandemonium in there, which was a little surreal. And like you know, people would take our signed copies and flip them for 100. Like we were before we left, like the store owner was coming up and showing like screenshots on his phone, like people had already flipped the book for over 100, like USD.
Wow.
Yeah, we did a signing a town called Guelph. It's kind of further out from like the GTA Toronto, Greater Toronto area.
Yeah.
It was a little bit, you know, it was a pretty good signing, and we had you know 9 people come out, and they had all 3 issues, and they were real excited to get them signed, and they were telling us how much they loved it and how much they were excited for it. It was you know, and you know the reaction online's been great. Everybody's real jazzed about it for the most part.
You know, Fred described your art style as very, very grindhouse. It's kind of got like a 70s grindhouse aesthetic. Is that a statement you would agree with?
I suppose because I'll do a lot of sort of Photoshop tricks to make it look aged, and sort of I'll put paper textures in the background so it looks like newsprint, and little things to make it more grainy. And like I don't blend the colors. I don't go super in depth with the Photoshop coloring. I'll stick to flats because you know originally like I didn't feel I was very good at Photoshop, so I came up with sort of shortcuts to work around that, and that just kind of became my style. Now it's like I want to kind of move away from color because it's the one part of the process where it's just you know the most mindless. I'm just standing there carving out the shapes and like punching in the colors. Like, can we get somebody else to do that? And bro was like, well, we like your coloring style, but I'm like, you know, you get somebody else to do it.
I mean, where did you draw your inspiration from an artistic perspective? Because I mean, your work is really fun to look at.
Like I go life drawing every week. You know, my friend Kagan's been putting on these life drawing sessions for about 15 years. And I think a lot of that, especially like my figure work, which people respond to, and the portraiture of people,
Yeah.
the expressions on the faces and stuff like that. And you know, just being a fan of the comics all my life. And I like, you know, big fan of movies. Like behind the laptop, there's like a big wall of old VHSs and stuff.
Oh yeah. What's
Yeah,
what's back there? What do you got?
some stuff. Like I'm looking at, like I got some Marx Brothers. I got my Marx Brothers. Got some Kubrick. Got some like there's Chi Chi Bang Bang, The Iron Giant. Some wrestling VHS, Evil Dead, Videodrome, The Shadow, Quills. It's
So
like
you,
Mark Assad. Yeah, I don't
so
know.
you get your inspiration from a variety of different sources. It sounds like. I mean, so it's the '70s grindhouse aesthetic is just kind of. I guess it depends on your perspective.
Yeah, I just I feel like comics should be colorful. You want it to pop, and you want maximum impact, and you know don't want to be a lot of comics, they end up looking the same these days, and you want to put your own stamp on, have your own identity to stand out.
You definitely got your own identity. I can tell you that much. I mean, like I said, it looks great. So, talk to me about the character of Bee, and in particular, her facial expressions, because she's so animated, and like the way that you draw her face, it'll stick with you. I mean, what's your inspiration on her front?
Well, initially, he Fred had done a draft of the story where it plays out basically the same, but it was an abandoned amusement park. But I said, no, we need let's have it full of people, so like everybody gets massacred. It's the Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre.
Mm-hmm.
And give me 2 pages at the start, and like I can make it work. And that's where you get that page everyone talks about, where it's just a wall of people, right? Because you got to establish the big crowd of people and everyone there, and everyone's got personality. And we just had the character be there as kind of like a vehicle for exposition. Like you got to set the whole thing up, and she wasn't meant to be anything beyond that.
Right.
And actually, we took us like a year to get approval from Mad Cave to go ahead. We only drew like the first half of the issue, like right when that big action set piece in the middle there happens, and we kind of stopped there for the longest time, and it just kind of sat there for a while. Eventually, like I got to the point where I'm like, let's bring this character back, because she's got an interesting design. There's like unique, and also like she can be kind of a counterbalance to Nebraska Miguel's craziness. She's kind of more like working class average person and more relatable, whereas like Nebraska's like straight up sociopath, and Miguel's not much better. And then we kind of, and like it ended up becoming like B kind of like just worked her way in there. She ended up kind of becoming like my low key my favorite character.
I mean, so you've got a deal going on your social media right now. That's really interesting. Where you'll draw anything for $50. Now, I
Yeah,
mean,
they're little 7x5 inch cards, like about the size of a birthday card or something. Like whatever you want, I'll just bang out a drawing for you.
have you been getting? It looks like based on what you've been posting on your page, that you've been getting a lot of requests for like fans with the Laser Drug Force, with with Agent Nebraska, with B, et cetera, et cetera.
People like B in Nebraska, especially. It looks like, which is great. Yeah, a lot of those, and it's great. I'm happy to do it. And it gives me time to like kind of develop, like like B, she's got like kind of a hippo hat, and like that's her, like she's running around in a swimsuit because she works in the tank with the hippo, so she's like like working at Marineland basically. She's like a hippo wrangler, so it makes sense for her to be running around in a swimsuit the whole time. But like after that, like we kind of like update her look depending on the story. She'll have a different role in each story, and she'll kind of have a different outfit.
Oh,
so
nice.
It gives me an opportunity to kind of develop it when people commission stuff, right?
Yeah, honestly, I'm tempted to take you up on it myself, but has anybody hit you with a request that's just totally out of left field? It's just like what?
Sure, like, but yeah, like people ask me for like pictures of them naked, which I have to explain. You know, I'm trying to keep this one like PG-13.
Yeah.
You know, if like fans want to draw them naked, that's one thing. But like, I myself, like, I'm trying to keep it,
yeah,
not, you know, decent. Like a lot of my earlier books, there's a ton of nudity in them and sex and stuff. But this one, I'm trying to like, you know, pull my punches in that regard.
So in books like Evil, which you were nice enough to send to me,
I don't know if you got a chance to read those or.
I did. I got to read Evil. I'm working on the next one, but do you get people who are stuffy with you about the nudity and the graphic stuff? Because I mean, your other projects are not as clean is the wrong word, but you don't have any nudity, you don't have any of that kind of stuff in Florida Hippopotamus.
They're maybe a bit more transgressive is maybe the word. I'm sure that like people, it makes certain people uncomfortable. I think they're intimidated to sort of
directly. Do you get people who complain to you?
No, I think like if they order it or they buy it, like they, you know, they get the idea. Like they'll see the preview art and flip through it, and like, you know, they know what they're getting into for the most part. Like I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure it's like some people,
yeah,
makes them uncomfortable, but you know, maybe they're a bit intimidated to like directly, you know, face me on that. You know, like like, you know, we were at a convention, we sold out. We had like about like 120, 150 copies of issue 1, and we sold all those out by Saturday. Then it was just kind of a grind to like try. I had copies of like my own books, and that became kind of a grind, just like, you know, asking people over and showing it to them, you know. But like I was aware of that going into it. Like part of the reason I wanted to do this book is like, you know, do kind of more of like crowd pleasing, you know, anybody can read it and not, you know, be so
a little more mainstream, maybe.
Yeah, more mainstream. The Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre, more mainstream by my standards, right?
James, I got to tell you, Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre has been one of my favorite books of the year so far. I'm super happy that it introduced me to you and your work. And of course, as a reminder, the collected edition of Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre goes on sale July 28th. That collects issues 1 through 4. James Edward Clark, ladies and gentlemen.